All right, so we're going to make a very cool graph today using data that I actually gathered on myself over the weekend. I've been learning how to juggle just two balls in one hand. I've been playing around with my right hand versus my left hand. So I wanted to see which one is getting better quicker. So I did as with every kind of motor learning study, you're probably going to see, you're going to again see something where you'll have blocks of trials. And so that's kind of like the fancy way of saying like sets of reps. And so, so I did 3 blocks of trials, 3 blocks of 10 trials, as you can see here. And so I have 30 trials for each hand. And so in order to like actually show the change in performance, you want to get the average for each block. And so to do that using, you can do this using Excel or using Google Sheets, but it's all just about using, learning these like little tricks in the software so you can make it easy on yourself. So what I would normally do to find the average of like block 1 of the left hand, all right? So I would put over here equals, so I'd write, like type in the equal sign, equals, and then start a parentheses. And then I just highlight all of the values that I want it to find the average for. So average of these numbers, these 10 numbers, and I'll end that parentheses and press enter. Uh-oh, what happened here? An array value could not be found. Well, let's find the solution. This is a good teaching moment. Cool, all right. So equals average Okay, so if you were using Excel, I think you could just write the word equals AVE and then parentheses. I guess in Google Sheets, you have to write out the whole word average. And so equals average, and then in parentheses, highlight all the values you want. Now, in order to not go through that drama again, this is the coolest thing that if you don't know this yet, this is gonna rock your world, okay? So if I want to find the average for the rest of my trials here, I can just go over here and then see how it becomes like a little crosshair right here. It goes from like a regular cursor to like a little hand. But if you go right here into the bottom right corner, it becomes a little crosshair. And then if you just drag that over, ooh, now we have the average for all of them. Okay, so now we want to actually put this into a graphical format so that we can make sense of this data and actually like see it, like see which hand was better at learning the skill. So to do that, I created something right down here. This is something you'll do for your quiz, where you're going to do, we have 3 blocks of data and we have our left hand and our right hand. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to write equals, and then so block 1 of the left hand is this value. So there you go. This is equals, the left hand block 2 is 30.5. And then equals, and then I'm just clicking on the value that I'm looking for. So equals 29.7. Same thing for the right hand. Rather than having to type out like 34.6. It's easier that way for me. All right, so now we're ready to make an actual graph. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna highlight all of these values, and I'm going to, what am I gonna do I'm so much more familiar with Excel, but we're gonna figure out how to do this here. All right, so I want to make a graph. Insert, ooh, here we go. Okay, so you click on insert and you go to chart. All right, so it automatically made a bar graph or column chart. We want to use a line graph because that's how we can actually see changes in performance. So I'm gonna just click on this very first line one. And that looks insane. you know, looking at these 3 blocks like this. So I'm going to actually do the opposite because, you know, when we think about a motor learning graph, we want to have what we're measuring. So for this, I don't even say that. Okay, so for this, I'm looking at number of catches that I did of juggling 2 balls in one hand. All right, so that's correct. This is correct right here. But on our x-axis, what we want on the x-axis is block 1, block 2, block 3, and then a retention trial, which I'll test myself later on this week. All right, so since it's opposite right now, I'm going to click on this button right over here that says switch rows and columns. Boom, all right, and there we go. This is how we want it to look. We have our legend of our left hand and our right hand. And then this we want to rename this because that title is insane. That doesn't actually say something. You want a title that actually means something. All right. And so what I was looking at is one-handed juggling performance. And just because I'm a stickler for how things look, I'm going to play around. You can play around with like the, you know, text style. I want this to be centered. Yeah, that just looks like so much better for me. All right, and I want to move this, but I can't move it. In Excel, you can move it. I want these values to be a little bit bigger. So I wonder if I can do that here. There we go, 16, cool. All right, and let's make this a size 16 as well, so we can actually see what's going on here. Let's make this a little bit bigger, so again, you can see what's happening. If you want to change these colors, because some people might have a hard time with certain colors, we can change the color as well. So we might change it to like black. And then this one could be, oh, we can make it like a little dashed line. So that's easier for people who have vision difficulties to be able to see that better. So now we can just kind of take a look at our graph and see what happened. So we need a little legend over here because we don't know what's happening over here on the y-axis. So we want to give this a name. How do I do that? Chart axis and titles. All right, so we already have a title. I want a vertical axis title. This is number of catches. Again, that font size is not big enough. Okay, so we just made it bigger. All right. I tend to like the way that things are formatted in Excel better than this, but this you can still do it with Google Sheets. So okay, right here we have number of catches on our y-axis, and then 3 blocks of 10 trials on our x-axis. So we can see that in block 1, that the left hand actually had a bigger average. It had I was able to get more catches with an average about 25 catches on my left hand, which is very surprising to me. And then the right hand did a little bit worse. But as you can see, the right hand got better with subsequent practice. And I mean, the left hand got a little bit better too, but not at the same extent as the right hand. So yeah, that's how we want to just interpret that data. And then in the perfect world, I would test myself in about a week and then see how I did in my overall retention of the skill. So I'll do that and yeah, we'll see how I actually did. Yeah, hope this helps. If you have any questions, I kind of went through my own process of running into problems here, so hopefully that'll help you. I kind of want the legend on the right side. Ooh, look at all these things you can do. Okay, so you can play around with all these kind of fun things on the side if you want to. But yeah, just make sure that your graph has the important features. It has a y-axis that you know what's happening. You have your blocks of trials on your x-axis. You have a legend. So if you're looking at two different groups, like for this one, it was my left hand versus my right hand. If it's just data for yourself, you just have one line. And then we want to have a title that kind of describes what's happening. So yeah, that is how you make a graph using Google Sheets. So I will see you later. Stop recording.